Welcome to YouTooSpain Live. On today's show, we're going to be taking you through the crucial process of preparing yourself for the new financial year in Spain. Joining me on the virtual settee by the virtual pool shortly will be our friend Lucia Melgarejo from Blacktower, who will provide essential money tips and answer all of your important financial questions so you can set yourself up properly for a bright, shiny new year. There will be plenty of helpful information and answers all throughout the show, including some warnings about recent scams that you should know about. That'll be in the second half, so stick around, enjoy the live chat in the meantime. If you're watching the video back afterwards, you can ask questions and chat in the comments below. Do that in YouTube, by the way, not in Facebook, because nobody else will be able to see the answers on YouTube, and that's where everybody watches the video. Okay, first of all, though, gather round, give us a wave, hit the like button and have your questions ready, or just relax and enjoy the chat. You're welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's dance. Oh yeah, groovy baby. Right then, just before we get chatting, don't forget to make a note of our website. It'll be on the screen all the way through the show. It's growing all the time. You can find loads of resources, specialists and links that you need for your move to Spain and for living here, especially for those of you who like to take notes and read more than once, which is what I always do. I always have to go back and over things. Sometimes in a video, it's not as easy to do that. Anyway, that's for you. There's a free newsletter at the beginning of every month as well, so sign up for that soon so you can get one in just over a week's time. You'll get the October one there. Excuse me. Doesn't cost a penny to subscribe, nor does it cost you anything to click subscribe on this channel as well. And a very quick reminder, if you're going to be moving or buying a house over the next few months and you're from the UK, for example, the pound to euro exchange rate, it's been dropping quickly after the summer highs. This is something that does tend to happen every year. I've noticed looking back over the last few years. It's dropping especially because of the interest rate announcements that have been coming through as well. So make sure you sign up for a free account with Smart Currency Exchange to lock in a forward rate. This time last year, it dropped down by, I think it was the 25th of September last year. It dropped right the way down to 1.11. So don't lose thousands on the deal. You can lock in a rate now. The link is below and it helps out YouTooSpain without any cost to you. It's a win-win-win with the cherry on top. There it is. Now, without further ado, let's meet our lovely guest for the day. It's Lucia from Blacktower. Hola, Lucia.
Hola, good morning. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hello. We had a bit of technical issues before, so sorry for the slightly late start. We couldn't connect. We were all frozen up, weren't we? But never mind. We're all there. Do you have any of your clients to shout out to this morning?
Yeah, I think a couple of them have subscribed for the chat today.
Excellent. So we'll see their names on there. I'd like to give a shout out, especially to Dan Bryans, who bought me a coffee.com this morning. Thank you so much, Dan. It's very kind of you. If anybody else wants to do that, then there's either a link below, or if you're watching on a big screen and you've got your phone handy, you can hover over the big QR code donate up there, and that will bring the link up. Just tap on that and it'll take you right to our YouTooSpain, our buymeacoffee.com YouTooSpain page. There we go. And so it's morning to Adam Farmelo, Paul Cook, Janet Stanton, Robbo, and anybody else that's with us that hasn't put in a comment on the live chat yet. Do that. Just put a hello or something like that. It keeps the channel up in the ratings and the rankings. So, good. So let's talk finance. First of all, let's have a frequently asked question, especially for those people joining us on YouTooSpain for the first time. When does someone become a tax resident in Spain?
Yeah, that's the main question to answer and to start with, simply because we need to understand when do we become a Spanish tax resident. It's not when we just arrive. It's something that happened when you spend here over 183 days. So 6 months plus a day, basically. No temporary absence are taken into consideration. I'm trying to say here that if you come, for example, for a couple of months, then you go back again to your home country, you come again and back and forth. Overall, the whole natural year, if you spend here over those days, 183 days, then is when you are liable for any taxes here in Spain. No one will inform of that. I mean, you don't receive a letter from the tax authorities or from the town hall. It's something that happens automatically. So your obligation would be to be filling out forms, tax forms, straight after you are over the 183 days period in Spain.
That's it, yeah. And so just to clarify, before your residency, if you spend days in Spain, that counts towards the number of days. But
Correct.
And as you just said, once you become a resident, doesn't matter if you go back to the UK or to America or to Canada, wherever, once you've become resident, you're officially there in Spain.
Yeah, by the day you landed, and that's easy to find out. I mean, of course, the tax authorities are not after every single expat that arrive or land here in Spain. But if they want to find out, there are ways of getting that proven, like your credit card payments for booking your flights and expenditure in Spain or back in your home country. So that is how they can locate where you are in the end of the days, if they get to that point of investigation, if they want to know exactly when you landed. So just be careful when you book your flights, just to keep, that information with you, so you know exactly how many days you have spent here, and you would be all right for being tax resident or for not being tax resident.
Brilliant. There's also 2 other ways that you can become tax resident, just for those other people who are not just moving over here. If the core of your interests is in Spain, or if your spouse and children are habitually resident in Spain, you can also be a tax resident. I think that covers it. Everybody does it.
Correct.
There we go. Okay then, now that we've got that fixed, moving on then, for those watchers who are non-residents but have to pay tax in Spain to start with, tell us what they pay tax on and what they need to be doing in advance of 2024.
So as I said before, our tax year runs from the 1st of January till the 31st of December. So it's the natural year, different, and that differs from other countries. So just bear that in mind. That is straightforward. It's one single thing that we have straightforward here in Spain. So the natural year is the tax year. Yeah. Then after that, if you are, for example, you bought your holiday home here in Spain and you spend here a couple of months during the year or during summer, then that property has to be, you need to do a declaration as a non-resident for having a second property. And that has to be sent to the tax authorities before the end of the year. There is no other deadline other than the natural year, which is our tax year. You can do that either in January, in the middle of the year, the day after, the day before the end of the year. It doesn't really matter, but you need to complete and submit a non-residency tax form for a secondary property. That's not including, of course, your main residency. So that's for non-residents and secondary properties. Okay.
And anything else for non-residents to know? Is there perhaps wealth tax, maybe?
Wealth tax wouldn't apply to them because they are not resident here in Spain. So unless they have a bunch of properties or funds where they need to, that they are located here in Spain, again, you will need to complete the non-residency tax, which is applicable for, that covers everything in respect to non-residents here in Spain. So there won't be any other tax to complete other than that.
Okay, that's really good to know. Okay, just saying good morning to other people. John McClue, Bengal Bert, I love that name, and Susan McGee. Good morning to all of you. Thanks for coming back and joining us. So let's move on to people who are planning to move to Spain in 2024. What should they sort out before the end of 2023?
Right, so it depends from which country you are coming from. You need to bear in mind your tax advantages in your home country, just to make sure that you can take all of them before you move here. For example, just to mention a couple of them, some countries have a tax-free lump sum to be taken from your pension, for example. Other countries also have a non-capital gains tax when selling your property, your main residency in your home country. So those things have to be taken into consideration. And of course, make sure that you enjoy those zero tax when you are either taking your pension or selling your property in your home country before you move here. So that's something to do prior to the end of the year, or prior to the move, if you are planning to come to Spain in 2024, or at any moment in time in the future. Of course, it's not only applicable for 2024. Anything that happens in the future, just make sure that you enjoy your zero tax with any financial situation that you have in your home country, and get always the advice from a Spanish financial advisor in order to make sure that you make the most out of it.
Yes. Yeah, of course, if you move in the second half of 2024 and you don't spend 183 days in Spain in the whole of that year, you don't become a tax resident. So you can enjoy those benefits, the tax-free pension lump sum and things like that, in the first half of the year, can't you? So
correct. So it will be applicable for, it depends when you're planning to move. So if somebody is planning to move the first half of 2024, that's something that you should be doing prior to the end of this current year.
So selling your house is another good one. Yeah, you've got to time that properly. So, and this is applicable to the UK. A lot of our viewers, I think this morning, I think everybody on the live chat that's got their name down there is from the UK or has moved already.
So tax-free lump sum them, if we are having a lot of UK people, hello to all of them. Tax-free lump sum from the pension, also from your ISAs is another financial product that you have in your home country, which is zero tax. When you take that money out of that, as soon as you become resident here in Spain, tax resident, those will be taxed. So please bear in mind that that is something that you will need to arrange prior to the move.
Excellent. Is there a way to get tax relief by paying off your mortgage, whether that's a Spanish mortgage or non-Spanish?
Well, that's a very good question, I have to say. So for paying off a mortgage, I'm afraid no, unless you took out your mortgage in Spain, Spanish mortgages only. If you took it out prior to 2013, then you get a tax relief when paying off the mortgage, up to a certain amount. But it's only for people that had a mortgage prior to 2013.
Excellent. And that's a Spanish mortgage?
Yes, only in Spanish mortgage, unfortunately.
Okay, Robbo has a question. So he says, "Hi Lucia, I'll be hopefully moving to Spain next August and will be transferring a 6-figure sum from my English account to my Spanish account. Will I be taxed on that money?"
Well, it depends how the money has been accumulated. If the money is already in a bank account, and then you have paid your taxes in the UK, then of course it's nothing to pay here in Spain, because you have already paid and done your homeworks in your home country. That's applicable to everybody, of course, to any other country. If the money, then here's where we need to think about, when are you coming to Spain? So I understand you have said August. So then it would be a non-tax resident for 2024. So anything that happened next year would be not applicable for any tax issues. So he would be classed as non-resident for the 2024 year and 2025. So it would be a no, because also don't forget there is a double taxation agreement in place between most countries, including the UK in that sense. So anything that has been paid already in the UK, then it's not going to be double taxed. Maybe you could be questioned by the tax authorities at some point, by any chance, but you have all your paperwork with you. So if that comes from a tax-free lump sum or a sale of a property in the UK, you already have everything with you. So everything is in order.
That's a good note for everybody. I'm just making a note of it so I don't forget. Everybody, keep your paperwork, take a copy of it digitally.
Of course.
So you've always got that, and keep everything on file.
Let me add here, Andrew, in regards to keeping all the paperwork to you. I find that, of course, when you move to Spain, there are different it's a different jurisdiction with different language. The process of a lot of things are different in various sense, or in most of them. So try to keep everything that you also had from the UK that happened or in your home country, that you sold your property, that you have released funds from a pension, from any other investment, not to leave them with your solicitor, because I'm facing right now, I'm dealing with a couple of clients that paperwork is with the solicitor is not available, so we are having issues because we need to demonstrate via the anti-money laundering legislation that the money has been cleared in the home country. And now, so we need to demonstrate that with that documentation, supporting documents. And if we don't have them, we cannot progress on anything. Everything stops. So make sure that you have everything with you. And also, if you start working with an accountant when you come to live in Spain, or with a lawyer, always keep your paperwork with you, because you are the sole responsible person for anything that is being done on your behalf. So don't rely too much on people that you don't really know. I mean, it's your own tax situation.
That's why I have a scanner a scanner on my printer, so make sure to take everything. I've got a file from Ireland and a file from Spain, and it's very
always here.
So, Robbo, just to reiterate what we said before, make sure you don't spend more than 30 or 60 days in Spain in the first half of the year if you're moving in August, because otherwise you might have accumulated more than 183 in that year and be a tax resident, and you then will be taxed on that. It's a pension lump sum, he says. So
okay, so even more complicated, because here the tax could go up to 47% on that tax-free lump sum in the UK, which where it's 0, and then here is 47%. So you could end up having the half of the money gone. So please make sure that you spend less than 183 days.
Yeah, great. And John McClue has a military pension. It's non-taxable in the UK. Will it be taxed in Spain? So it's a monthly pension. We move in October on the non-lucrative visa.
It depends on the amount. Here, in order to be liable for taxes, you need to receive a pension income, overall income of over 20,000 euros, 19 something. So let's call it 20,000. So if you are above that amount, then you will be liable for tax. But of course, then we have tax reliefs or reductions according to the age of the person that is paying tax. So it's not going to be too much, but the answer would be yes. But it wouldn't be applicable for following year because he's moving in October. So again, if you move in October and you haven't spent here, in October this year, I understand, probably in 2023.
It's October this year. Yeah,
okay, this year. If he hasn't spent over 183 days this current year, that won't be applicable for 2024. So he will start paying taxes in 2025.
Great. Hope that answers your question, John. If not, then you can ask a little more. For clarity, Mr. F says, UK pensions are documented for tax as general income in Spain, except some government ones. I've read that since Brexit, not all UK pensions are recognised as pensions in Spain. A drawdown is taxed as investment. Is that right?
Any money that is coming from pensions, that's a big argument between some solicitors, some accountants, financial advisors as well. But if you go straight away to the tax authority's website, which is the aeat.es, any pension income from any other country is classed as a pension, as an income, and therefore liable for income tax. You can battle that, you can fight that in the court, but I can tell you that from jurisprudencia is the name in Spanish, all of them had to pay the income tax in the end. I understand that in the UK you can enjoy that, but probably that would be the price for the sun down here.
I think jurisprudence, I think is
Jurisprudence. Thank you very much.
Translates directly, that one. So
thank you very much.
John McClue says it's less than 19,000 euros. It's a disability pension.
Okay, then it will be no tax to pay, then nothing to submit to the tax authorities in that regard.
Excellent. And we've answered that question. So we're going to touch very briefly on a tax-related question, because I know lots of people ask about this on social media. What's Beckham's law, and how does it relate to what we're talking about today?
Okay, the Beckham law have had some changes. I'm just looking at my notes, of course, because I'm not an accountant. I'm a financial advisor. So, but of course, I know how it works, and the few tips that I can give you here. If you need any further information, just let me know after the chat, and then I'm more than happy to either direct you to an accountant, or if I know that, I will just let you know. Beckham rule is, okay, let me just go back to this graph that I have here, which tells me how it used to work and how it works now, because it had a change beginning of the year, as I said. Oops, computer is playing up, sorry about that. A lot of issues this morning with the internet, laptop, phone. I do apologize. Maybe because it's Saturday, we are in sunny Spain and it doesn't want to work.
Yeah, we had a lot of wind in the mountains last night as well, so it affected a few things. So.
Of course. Oh God. Okay, I'm nearly there. Okay. Yeah. So the Beckham law is a regime that you can enjoy if you are planning to move here under certain circumstances. It used to be that you had to be non-resident for the past 10 years. Now that changed to the past 5 years. So that's something positive. So if you used to work here in Spain or used to live in Spain 7 years ago, then you can enjoy again the Beckham law if you are planning to move here. Then the employment and activity that covers is a new employment contract in Spain. So you have to be contracted in Spain. You need to have a relocation letter to Spain provided by your employer. Or you need to be a director, controlling less than 25% of the shareholding of the company. Plus, also something new for this year is the entrepreneurial activities to be performed in Spain. You can also apply for that, so you can be an entrepreneur, when before it was only under contracted unemployment. Sorry. And also it would be for highly skilled professionals for startups. So if you want to move to Spain, you want to set up your own company, then also that would be applicable to your situation, to be enjoying the Beckham law. Beckham law allow you to be paying a flat rate of 24% only, lucky you if you could get that, if your overall earned income is below 600,000 euros a year. Anything above that, it would be taxed at 47%, which is our tax if you earned over 60,000 a year for normal taxpayers, not enjoying. So the comparison here would be Beckham law allow you to pay 24% up to 600,000, whereas if you come not under the Beckham law because you don't qualify for those under those circumstances, if you earned over 60,000 euros, then you would be paying on the excess 47%. So it's half what you enjoy for the following 5 tax years plus 1. So they, for some reason, we don't say 6. They like to say 5 full tax years plus 1. In total is 6. But let me just tell us what the law says: 5 plus 1.
Brilliant. I'm sure it made a huge difference to what David Beckham took home at the end of the day. Yeah.
Also, let me add here, sorry, Andrew, that I was forgetting here. That's for income tax under the Beckham law. If you come under that regime, you wouldn't pay wealth tax on your outside of Spain assets. Only anything that is located in Spain, that would be liable for wealth tax. Spanish assets only. For solidarity tax, which is another tax that I can mention later on today, only for Spanish assets as well, so nothing to consider if you have anything abroad. And form number 720, which is worldwide declaration, is also not applicable to you because you are classed as a non-resident in those circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Great. No. Right. Now, we've had a few more questions on the live chat. I'm going to do them in the second half of the show, so everybody stick around for that. And also, we're going to be talking about the scams you need to look out for. But before that, let's have a quick message from me and 3 of my alter egos about the wonderful things available to you as YouTooSpain fans. So, take it away, Scats. Are you getting something helpful from this show? Are you enjoying YouTooSpain? Then click on the thumbs up and subscribe to YouTooSpain while you're here. And click on the bell for notifications. It's all free, but it's worth loads of money. I need coffee to keep my picker up. You can donate coffee to us all. There's a link in the video description below, or use the QR code. It'll be in the top left-hand corner of the screen after this message, sweetie. But that's not all. You can support YouTooSpain with a regular monthly amount. It's only a few quid. Oh, he's worth a lot more than that. There's a link below to Patreon, where you can find out what extra groovy things you get by helping out. Oh, I'm all a quiver. One more thing. Get on with it. There's an important guest twiddling their thumbs. All right, calm down. The lovely video watcher needs this. Go on then. There are lots of other links to vital things below. Like what? Well, do you need private healthcare insurance? Yes. Do you need a visa or residency? Do you need to exchange currency? What about finding a property? Or getting tax and pensions advice? Or getting a Spanish mortgage? Or getting documents translated and apostilled? Or getting a medical certificate? Or finding a lovely little app for learning Spanish? Do you need the best mobile phone provider? Or a digital business card so you never need paper ones again? Or do you just want one of YouTooSpain's t-shirts with a slogan on it? You can even get discounts on dental treatments and get a lovely little smile like Scats. All of those links are there down below. If you can't find them, ask me in the comments. Is that everything, darling? I need to get my nails done. Probably not, but let's get back to the show, shall we? Back to Scats in the studio. I wanted to say that. Oh, stop being beastly, you two. YouTooSpain. Over to you, Scats. Thank you very much, Scats. And thank you to Scats, Walter and Tommy and Dick and all of the... Well, it was only Walter, Tommy and Dick. And I'd like to say hello from the Colonel, who's been doing a lot of our videos recently. And he's kind of taken over from Tommy. I'm going to have to record a new central advert there. If you have any questions for any of those imaginary people, then do ask in the comments below. So we didn't have any questions from Facebook this time because I think everybody's come on the live chat. So that is brilliant. So let's quickly answer these questions that have come in. Mr. F had a follow-up question, which is, for UK private pensions and SIPPs, are they declared on Modelo 720 if over 50,000 but are inaccessible as the person is younger than 55 years old?
Well, when you are resident, you are obliged to declare any asset that you have outside of Spain worth over 50,000 euros. For pensions, any pension, SIPPs, private pensions, final salary schemes, anything would have to be included on Modelo 720. My advice here, because we don't have under our regulation for Modelo 720, it doesn't say specifically that you need to be over the age of 55 to declare in regards to your to declare your pension that is outside of Spain, because you are younger than that age. So it doesn't say anything like that. If you are, and that's something, again, is personal advice, if you are closer to the age of 55, or you plan to retire here in Spain, which means that at some point in the future you would be taking an income from that pension, which is, of course, very likely, my recommendation is to be including that in Modelo 720, because it's not any tax to pay, it's just an informative document to be completed. So the more information, the more information we give at the time, the less problems or issues or complications would have when we receive that money physically in Spain. So my advice is yes, but it doesn't say anything anywhere that because it's not accessible, you don't have to. It's not contemplated within the law. So my advice is to go for the inclusion of that.
Great. Does that cover everything, Mr. F? You mentioned something about income tax earlier on, but isn't it classed as savings tax? Yeah, ask us again about that one if that's not been answered already. And Bev says, hello Bev, I'll have two pensions, one state, one private. Does the €20,000 limit count then?
The 20,000 limit is only for one type of income, one source of income, better to say. Apologies. So it has to come, your overall income has to come from one single provider. If that's a state pension, then that counts at one. If you receive another pension from a private pension or an annuity, that is provider number two. So then the limit will go a bit below to 14,000 and so and so. So let's call it 15,000 euros when you need to declare that income. You have the obligation of declaring here in Spain.
Okay. Hope that answers that one, Bev. And John McClue says, lovely nails, Lucia.
Oh, thank you.
You had your hand right next to the screen earlier while you were looking at the, the computer. So, Alan Lackenby, morning, everyone, he says. Good morning, Alan. My question is, I'll be applying for years 2 and 3. That's your renewal. I have the funds in my Spanish account. When I apply for years 4 and 5, once this has been accepted, can I start spending my savings? Interesting question.
So you are applying for that currently, and your question is when can you start using those savings? That would be, I'm afraid I'm unable to answer that question. The answer is I don't know. That would be something more to people that are dealing with visas.
Yeah, ask Chris that one next week.
That's Chris,
Alan.
exactly. So that would be a question to Chris. He would be able to answer to you like that. But I'm afraid I don't know.
I think we have answered it in previous videos. So have a check back on, actually, yes, the video that we did only in the last month or two, which was all about renewals. We did a series of 3 videos. One was about getting your non-lucrative visa. The second one was about what happens after you arrive in Spain. Then the next one was about renewals. So that whole series was like 3 weeks in a row. So easy to find if you just go on the click on the name of the channel and you'll find them all linked up there. And I think there's a playlist which is all about Saturday morning Q&As. So yeah, you'll find that one easily. And there's also time codes along the bottom of the screen, so you can actually look at where the question was asked. There you go. Yes.
If I may add something in regards to pensions, because I can see that it is a lot of interest here, which is understandable. Of course, it's a big topic before you move to Spain. On the last, and that's only relates to UK nationals. And the UK system. So in the last budget that you have in spring, there was the lifetime allowance of the tax-free pension savings. They said that it's going to be scrapped. So there is a lifetime allowance in the UK whereby over £1,073,000, if you wanted to move that pension outside of the UK because you are relocating somewhere else in the EU, you would have to pay taxes. So that is no longer applicable. Well, that was said in the spring budget, but we don't know when that would be reinstalled. So now is a very busy time for us, for people that has over that amount of money and wants to move the pension outside of the UK because of few tax advantages and benefits when you move into Spain. So now is the time to consider to do so. So just get in touch if you want, so we can look after that for more details. And in regards to other pensions in general, private pensions, before you convert them into annuities, just have a look at any other options, because annuities are going to be paid out always, no matter whether you need the money or not. And then here in Spain, from the income tax point of view, that does make a difference. So what we do, we just try to arrange how to take the income, splitting that in different tax years, so we can accommodate how you pay your income tax here in Spain when you have a pension, for example. So I always advise to get at least the information, so you know options available to you, and then if you want to go for them or not, then that would be fine. But at least have that information with you.
Yeah, excellent. John McClure's got a question. How do you beat the tax man? You don't. You cannot beat the tax man.
Of course not. Of course not. You need to do what you would do in your home country when you move abroad to another country. It doesn't really matter whether that's Spain or anywhere else around the world. But yeah, you need to act upon what you would be doing in your home country, which is just paying tax. I understand again that we don't want to pay twice, but as I said, Spain has double taxation agreement with most countries. So if you are paying already in your home country rental income tax or pension income or any taxes that you have, they would be offset here in Spain. So you won't be paying twice. Maybe you pay slightly more, or you don't have to pay anything. But yeah, we need to submit them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a history, and I'm sure it's the same all over the world, but there's a history in the UK of trying to beat the taxman and beat the customs and excise and everything like that. We've made heroes of people who steal from the rich and give to the poor and all that kind of thing. But yeah, generally you can't really.
No.
So, John, what's this question? Where's the Colonel? That's an interesting spelling of Colonel. Where's the Colonel on your alter ego? He's I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in there. But, he's not on the advert yet because I recorded the advert before he existed in my head. Anyway, so Janet says, I'm due to start a small police pension in March 2024, under 20,000. There's no total pension pot amount as it's paid for life, so presumably this does not need declaring on the 720.
It's an annuity. Well, it's a final salary from a public sector pension. If you do have received, well, any public sector or any final salary pension has a value itself, even though I understand that you get an amount as an income for life, that would have to be, if applicable, declared on income taxes here in Spain. In regards to Modelo 720, if you do have a value prior to be taking the income, then the answer would be yes, that will go on Modelo 720 if over 50,000. By the time you start taking an income of that, because it converts into an annuity and it's no longer a pension pot there, then that won't be applicable. It's just the sum of money that you get on an annual basis or a monthly basis from that provider, police in that case, but it's only that amount. Then just to add something here, if you start accumulating that income in a bank account elsewhere outside of Spain and you accumulate over 50,000, then you will need to declare that on Modelo 720. So just bear that in mind.
Great. By the way, if anybody wants to get into contact with Lucia details are down below in the video description. I would highly recommend it. So let's move on. John McClue says, do Spanish bank accounts get taxed? Only on the income from it, isn't it? It's
only on any income, which I would say that, so the answer is nearly close to zero. So pretty much you don't pay any tax, but the bank, I have to say, the bank, before they give you any interest on your account, the interest that you receive is net. They pay on your behalf to the tax authorities all the time. That happens with any Spanish compliant investment or account that you have. Any money that you receive is net of any taxes.
That's good to know. Mr. F says, for UK pension tax, some advisors say SIPPs aren't seen as pension in Spain, so they're treated for tax like planes de jubilación as savings income. Differing advice. Is there a link to AEAT official advice?
Yeah, I can send you the link to the Agencia Tributaria. The thing that, again, Agencia Tributaria is the tax authorities here in Spain, where any rules without, overall Spain is being regulated. It doesn't go into any specific type of product for different countries or jurisdictions. So it's not going to touch on SIPPs, it's not going to touch on ISAs, it's not going to touch on any specific vehicle that you have in your home country, because you can imagine that that's going to be impossible to cover for every single country. So what it says, and again, I can send you the link after the call today, the show, sorry. What it says that any income coming from any pension is classed as income.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is. So if you take, no matter whether the money comes from a QROPS, whether the money comes from a SIPP, whether the money comes from a plan de pensiones, a Spanish pension plan, or plan de jubilación, or final salary, or defined benefit scheme, or any other, I can't remember now from the United States, the name just went from my head, but anything that is to do with a pension, it's classed as income, and it goes on to Spanish income tax up to 47%. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great. Alan Lackenby says, I'm currently drawing down on one of my private pensions, which is about 8,000 a year. This will run out in 6 years' time. Then I'll draw down another private pension worth the same. Will I pay tax, as this will be my only income? He continues.
So, if you are only receiving the 8,000 euros per annum and no any other income from either the state pension or any other type of income, then you are below the threshold, of course, so you don't need to pay taxes. So if that's the only and the sole source of income.
There you go. And Mr. F says, yes, to Alan, this is what I was concerned about too. Accept that pension will be taxed, but there is a low income allowance there. Robbo says, I thought that the non-lucrative visa process was difficult. Tax is a whole new ball game. Yeah. It makes my head explode most of the time. Whenever I'm talking to my Hestor about it, I just go, oh, just sort it out for me.
Exactly.
Once he starts talking about it, because there's all kinds of
codes we like to change. To change also the legislation, unfortunately, on an annual basis. My recommendation here is that you get in touch with a good accountant to do your tax returns, at least at the beginning, and then once you get used to, you can do them yourselves. Me personally, although I understand the system, I do have an accountant, because there are so many things that you need to consider, so many deductions and reductions that you can add to your personal income tax allowance, that, to be honest, I'm sure that I will be doing it wrong. So I'd rather just have somebody that charges less than 100 euros, and then it's done for me, and I can just sleep well.
Yes, brilliant. Mr. F says, please post the link. Spats, interesting. Scats with a K. Thanks, Lucia. Yeah, just Lucia, send me that after the show, and I'll post that under this video. John McClue says, I think I can solve the Rubik's Cube quicker than work out the Spanish tax. Yes. Couldn't we all? I can't do the Rubik's Cube either, so there we go. I've not got that kind of 3D brain. Jed is saying people who live abroad will no longer be able to have a Barclays UK current or savings account, according to the press in the UK. That I did a whole video about this, actually, about which bank account you can keep. There's quite a few that you can keep, but you can't actually change the kind of account. You can't even change, if you wanted to change it from a solo account to a joint account, for example, you can't even change that and change the details on some of them. But I did a complete list in that video, so if you need to check that. But I didn't see that in the UK press, but I'll take your word for that. It may be in the tabloids and maybe somebody trying to spread a bit of panic, but that's their job. That's the tabloids' job, isn't it? And there you go. Mr. F has put my full name there. Thank you, Mr. F.
Well, the rationale behind that not being able to have UK bank accounts is as follows. If you have decided to move outside of the UK and no longer be there, not having a property, not having any links to the UK, then banks are saying, why would you keep your bank account here? I do understand, don't get me wrong, I do understand why would you keep your bank account in the UK, completely understand. But banks are acting in that way because of that. So you're no longer living here, you don't have any ties here, so then why would you have your UK bank account when you are not going to be here all the time? So for that, you can use an online banking that I'm sure Andrew covered on that video with a full list of other bank accounts. But in general, and I have to say, most of the banks will be doing the same, sending letters to you saying that either you provide with a proof of address that you reside in the UK, but of course, if you are living here, and you have gone through the non-lucrative visa, then it's going to be a bit an issue.
For a lot of processes, you can go through a currency exchange company as well. You can have them take your pension and send it through to a Spanish bank. So you can, with some processes, I don't know if that works for everything, but they can pay it individually. They can even pay your utility bills directly to companies. So that's another way of doing it if you can't keep your bank account. And Mr. F says, if you want to open a savings account, do it before you leave the UK. Yeah, that's one way to get around that while you still have a UK address. And Bev's asking, just for clarity on that, you were talking about if somebody had two pensions, there's like a separate thing. What's the tax-free amount with two pensions, did you say?
15,000 euros a year per annum. Two pensions or two different sources of income. So two different providers that are paying you an income. For example, you working, or you have decided to carry on working after you are 55, and also you are drawing down on your pension from the UK, for example, then you have two different sources of income. So your limit for tax obligation is going to be 14,000. So it's not only related to pensions.
Excellent. And so we'll talk more about pension plans and investments in a moment, but let's get on to these scams that people need to be warned about. So what are we looking for? Of course.
So and I wanted to touch on this topic because yesterday I driving to a meeting. I was listening on the radio the way that a lady got scammed over the phone. I understand that you are expats and you don't answer the phone as we do, but maybe because we tend to mimetize when we move abroad or we are living in another country, maybe you start answering the phone like that. So please don't do it. So we tend to answer saying yes in Spanish, sí. So by just saying sí, they got the consent for having a loan, for having a credit card payment. So she got scammed over 6,000 euros just with a yes answer over the phone. So please make sure that you don't start your venture here in Spain by learning how our yes when we answer. So never answer like that. That would be the first one, because I was a bit shocked. I am the one that answers saying sí. So no longer, not anymore since yesterday. Then we are receiving a lot of messages on our phones saying your delivery hasn't been delivered, your Amazon request is not able to be delivered, or your correos package is not going to be delivered because they need some more information from you. Please click here, and you are done.
Yeah.
Because they sent you, well, I don't know the system, how it works. I'm not an IT person, but I understand that they download like a virus on your phone, and then they can get all your codes and everything from your phone. And nowadays we have our life in our phones with every passwords. Also banks, I'm getting messages from banks that I don't deal with saying that, oh, we have blocked your code card. Please just go and click that link in order to reset that for you. Or your password has expired. Please click here. So a bank, and a Spanish bank, well, or any company in Spain, is never going to ask you to, via a message or WhatsApp or any other source or email, to click on any link in order to reset any password or any secret words or anything like that. They are always going to communicate to you via their own website. So if you have your app, for example, for the bank that you're dealing with, they are going to be communicating to you via the app, or they will ring you. But they will ring you for you to go to the office, not to click or following the instructions or anything like that. Never, 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 please follow any instructions over the phone. That never click a link that you have received via message, email, or any other source. So they are not going to communicate to you like that. And nowadays, it's been a lot of people. Well, during a week, I can have like 5 or 6 clients that tell me, oh, you know what, Lucia, I clicked. And it's like, okay, so I'm calling on their behalf, the bank, in Spanish, just to explain and make the appointment for them to go straight away, or to block also the bank accounts, because they had given all permissions to the people that are behind the link. So please, 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 if you are not sure, always delete everything. So it's better. They will insist, if the bank wants to get in touch to you, or the Social Security or the tax authorities, they will insist on getting in touch to you. So if you're not sure, better just to delete and protect your computer or your devices from any virus that you could get.
Excellent. Thank you for that advice. Yeah, just don't click on anything, basically. Right. Janet says, I've been looking at Spanish compliant bonds in Spain for my small nest egg, as they appear to be very tax efficient. Any thoughts?
Well, that's what we do as financial advisors here in Spain. So we are trying to accommodate what you have in your home country, that is tax efficient, of course, while you are tax resident in your home country, to something that is compliant here in Spain, like Spanish bonds. Spanish compliant bonds, any money that goes in grows free of tax. So you don't pay any capital gains tax while the money is there. Capital gains tax here in Spain goes from 19% up to 27%, just got increased this year for higher amounts, of course, so it grows gradually. So you are not paying any capital gains tax until you are taking an income from it, where you pay proportionate capital gains. So it's very, very tax efficient for somebody that is planning to move to Spain and have the ISAs or any other type of savings vehicles in the home country that are tax efficient. So that's the most tax efficient vehicle for that. So yes, the answer is yes. If you need further information on which ones you can be looking at using, just get in touch via email if you like after the live chat.
Excellent. And Barry's just reiterating this point. He was always advised when online banking became a thing just to ignore every email and text. Yeah, generally they're not from the people they appear to be. I keep getting the ones with Correos, the post office in Spain,
Exactly.
saying quote this code, and I took it down to the post office and she just looked at it and went scam.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's
So
the same
please
word.
just delete them. Yeah, delete them.
It's the same word in Spanish, isn't it? Scam.
A scam.
Excellent. Let's talk about pension plans then. Is there anything else? Oh, you've talked quite a lot about these. How can watchers benefit from these and get tax relief? That's the question.
Yeah, that's only for Spanish pension plans. So that doesn't cover any other type of pension plan that you have outside of Spain. It's something that you cannot contribute, or you cannot contribute towards a Spanish pension plan from money that you already had in another pension plan outside of Spain. So it's something for somebody that is Spanish. There's been changes in regulation here in Spain for quite a while, where the government has been reducing the allowance every year that we had. Sorry, I just had an alarm here. So the government has been reducing the allowance that you had to contribute to a Spanish pension plan down to €1,500 per annum, whereas in the UK has increased by £60,000, I think. Here in Spain, they have reduced to 1,500. But watch your space, because the predictions are that it's going to be increased once again. Any money that you contribute towards a Spanish pension plan, planes de pensiones, plan de jubilación, PPA, they said, PPA. So there are different names, but Spanish pension plan. You get a tax relief on any money that goes into that. So you save your taxes this year only. Unfortunately, it's going to be 4,500. But hey, any bit counts. If you want to have any tax relief, you can have a Spanish pension plan. The main characteristic is that you cannot access the money up until you are age 67, age of when you are going to be retired, or of course under other circumstances which are not the desirable ones, when you get either dependent on somebody, you get unemployed, or of course when you die, that goes on to your beneficiaries. But it's a good way of saving for the future if you are in that stage. I do my bits on my Spanish pension plan, because hey, who knows what's going to be happening in the future, and every penny counts towards your retirement. So that's good.
Excellent. Shall we move on to investments then? How should we be maximising gains and reducing our losses there?
I think the lady called Janet that asked about the Spanish compliant bonds, she touched on that already, and I touched on that already. That's one of the examples that you could access when you plan to move to Spain, or when you are here in Spain as well, because as I said, any money that is gets invested there is tax efficient, in the sense of not paying taxes while the money is growing. Then when you take an income, of course, that's going to be proportional tax that you will be paying, so you don't pay the whole amount, from 19% to 27%, as I said. That increased this year, so it's very it's going up, well, similar to other countries, but yeah, here has been quite an increase. It used to be maximum 23 and now it's 27, so 4% that we had on the top of that. Also, you can nominate your beneficiaries, even though they are outside of Spain, which most of expats tend to have that situation. You move here, but of course your kids, your grandkids, or your family stays in your home country. So you can nominate your kids, or whoever the beneficiaries are, even though they are outside of Spain, and they won't be included within your Spanish inheritance tax, because the asset, the Spanish compliant bond, isn't located in Spain, it's in Southern Ireland, within the European Union, highly regulated, and the beneficiaries are not in Spain either. So because no one, either the money or the beneficiary, is located in Spain, there won't be any Spanish inheritance tax applicable to that, which is very good.
That is. And
Also, let me just finish off with the Spanish compliant bonds. Also, you have now, because of the increase of interest rates, we do have other deposits that are running for 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, and they have a fixed interest. And let me just have a quick look on the rates, just to give you the accurate information. For pounds, for example, for a 3-year term deposit, now is been given 5.5% on an annual basis. For euros, 3.3, and for dollar, 4.9. So it's something that you can bear in mind if you like to have a deposit, but the minimum term is 3 years. Then it's going to be 5.5, which is very good. So, well, same to the interest rates level that at the moment Bank of England have stated. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more benefit for doing savings and investments at the moment, isn't there? While interest rates are high up.
Correct.
Mind you, they're nowhere near what they were. I can't remember when it was, but the much higher interest rates were like 14, 15%. This was decades ago when
Of course, that was back in the 80s, 90s, where you had those interest rates, which of course I don't think that's gonna be the situation at the moment, because they already stopped or slowed down a bit the increases on interest rates. But yeah, it's something that we are looking to recommend nowadays, because you can get from your money 3 years fixed term of 5.5%. That's a good rate on your money, which is guaranteed. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, Mr. F says, is that 5.5% 3 year? Is that fixed in Spanish compliant bond? The fixed rate?
A fixed rate for 3 years? Yes, it is.
Great. Interesting question from Barry at Unitech. As property is much cheaper in Spain than the UK, is it not seen as much of an investment as it is here in the UK?
When I make a holistic picture with clients, I try to look at every financial situation. So I do recommend to diversify your investments, not to be 100% on that 5.5% on a 3-year period deposit, or every single money invested into a property. So the beauty is just to diversify accordingly. From the property point of view, it's a good investment. I have to say that here the stamp duties are higher than in the UK as well. So we look at cheaper properties, but higher stamp duties, taxes, which are around 8%, plus notary, plus gestoria, plus. So you need to look at around 10 to 12% costs on taxes and expenses that you need to go for when buying a property. But of course, I cannot say that it's a bad investment. It's a good investment, because if you rent it out per seasons, or of course, it depends where the property is located. Yes.
Yeah, people can make it work, although I think it's
a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and because of those taxes, it is probably a lot better an investment in the UK. I think people doing up houses is very, very popular, and selling them on.
Correct. Whereas here it's a bit more complicated. You have tax implications, and from my personal situation as well, for different circumstances, I had to move out from my house because I was changing location. So I started renting out my own house. And you cannot imagine the amount of taxes and things that you need to do for that, and permissions and oof. But yes, I'm not complaining. Well, I'm kind of complaining, but it's a complicated situation or process in order to make it work. So
Great. Now I've got a pension question from me. It's hopefully going to be helpful for lots of other people as well. This is about getting different pensions from different countries. So here's my situation. I made contributions while in the UK, but not the full 35 years. I may have been about 12 years short of that, I think, but I can't remember. But then I made 7 or 8 years worth of contributions in Ireland. And now I'm working for 8 to 10 years in Spain, I think, until retirement. And I'm sure that the total of all 3 countries will be more than 35 years. at that point when I retire. And as I understand it, once I've made 35 years worth of contributions altogether, any extra years, it's not going to get me any extra pension. Is that right? So is there any point making any more voluntary contributions to the UK in that case?
Very good question, I have to say, Andrew, here. The thing is that we are including here, we have 3 countries. We have the UK, we have Ireland, we have Spain, one of which is a non-European country anymore, as we all know. It hasn't said in paper or in black and white whether your UK pension contributions will be counted as combining all your European pensions yet. We haven't had the communication of otherwise, but of course it's not in black and white that would be the case. And I'm sure we are looking at having that situation in few years' time, so not something straightforward where it's recent. We have recent Brexit. Is that correct? When would you be looking to retire, more or less, Andrew?
Oh, it's still going to be in 8 to 10 years, I think. Before I retire.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are on a long run here. In 10 years' time, I don't know how it's going to be the situation. If you were to do that now, I would say that you could get that just to reunify all your pensions, even though we are including one from the UK, without any issue. Again, as I said, in 10 years' time, I don't know, is the answer. I don't know what is going to be happening.
Okay, so there's no way
My
of knowing.
recommendation here would be to top your UK pensions up, or at least to make the calculations. So if you go onto the government's, the UK government's website, I think I know that it's going to be able to provide you with the amount of where you are short or how much is left for you to go to the top of that. So I would say that would be the starting point, to go onto the government's website from the UK, get a figure of how much would you need to contribute just to get to the maximum, and then just to work it out whether it's going to be better here in Spain to contribute more instead of going to the UK. So in your situation, because we are talking about the European Union, 2 pensions, which are EU, and 1 pension that is UK, it's a matter of doing a calculation here, a very quick calculation. So getting that figure from the UK and whether it's worth going for topping it up in Spain rather. In the UK, I have to... Yeah, sorry, go on, I interrupted.
Barry's saying, could you not buy those missing years and retire early? You can top up the missing years. I was advised not to, but to make voluntary contributions previously. But this was kind of not long after Brexit when I was doing it, and I did ask the pension people in the UK for a quote of how much I'd get and how many years I was down. So I have made one voluntary contribution in that time for a year, which is about 163, I think. I think that's class 2 contributions. But yeah, I'm just worried that I'm going to be end up paying, more than 35
for
years,
nothing.
and it's just going to be a waste of time.
I understand. My impression here would be that, in 10 years' time, as I said, it's difficult to answer, and just take it as a recommendation or advice. My opinion is that it's going to be going separate. From the pension point of view, the UK will be going one way and the EU will be go on a different way, but that's an opinion, very personal opinion. It's not a fact. And by the way, you can top up your national insurance contributions in the UK up until the 5th of April 2025. They increased the deadline because I remember before summer this year, there was like a kind of rush or a deadline where you had, I remember having some clients giving me a call, and it was because there was a deadline for that. But now it has been extended up to April 2025. So still have time to top your contributions up if that's something that is worth, again. Mathematics are exact science, so it's a matter of making calculations and see whether that's going to be good or not to you going for the UK or going for the European one, Spanish one.
Okay, because before Brexit, I was talking
the answer
about
would have
this,
been
and the answer would
straightforward.
have
Yes.
been,
Yes.
and I was told I was going to be getting two separate pensions, and they could be more than the altogether more than the 35 years, and
Of
I
course.
was looking forward to
Sure.
that. But also, somebody said right at the very last minute, just before the withdrawal agreement deadline, one of the last things that that was done was joining together the pension systems so that you'd only get one altogether, one lump sum. But as you say, has that not gone through into legislation yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's interesting. So, yeah. So, Mr. F, yes, I have done my pension forecast. Thank you for that's good to let everybody know. You can get a pension forecast from HMRC online in the UK. And Bev says, unfortunately, New Zealand pension contributions don't count towards UK pension. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't know that. And yes, Janet says it's frustrating for you scouts as when you paid into UK pension, it was in the EU. Now all the rules are different. Yeah, that's why it's difficult to work out. And we don't know what's going to happen, what kind of deals are going to be made. And of course, there may be a change of government in the UK. And Starmer at the moment is talking about trying to rejig the deal. I don't know whether that's possible or whether Europe is going to even bother about wanting to do that kind of thing. So we will see over the coming years. And Barry says they did close the window not long ago where you could make voluntary contributions for up to 12 missing years, I think. Not sure what the maximum is now that you can make up.
Here I have that's why I'm mentioning that, because I thought that was going to be interesting for today's show.
Yeah.
Let me just read that out loud to you in regards to that. So taxpayers now have until the 5th of April 2025 to fill gaps in their national insurance record from April 2006 that may increase their state pension. An extension of nearly 2 years, the government announced today. That was the 12th of June, 2023. Yeah, so the period has been extended. And as far as I know, you can top it up to, you can go 12 years back, I believe. Well, since 2006, it says on the document. So you can top your contributions since April 2006 up until now for the next 2 years, within the next 2 years, sorry.
Excellent. So any more live chat questions? We'll round the show up in a few moments. And interesting, John McClue says, we'll be back in the EU soon. Don't hold your breath, mate. That would be political suicide for anybody in the UK to suggest going back in. Even, the Labour Party are even having trouble suggesting it. Even the people that didn't want to come out in the first place are saying, well, we've just got to put up with it now. Because just think of all of the legislation that's being changed now.
Wow,
and it's still being changed. It's going to take 10 years before everything is sorted out, at least 10 years. And nobody wants to turn all that around now. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of work and would cost billions and billions for the UK and for the EU. It ain't going to happen. The best hope is that Scotland breaks away from the UK and tries to come back in. I think there's more chance of that happening, but even that's complicated. There we go. So yes, ask your questions in there while we're waiting for more questions to come in, because there is a slight time delay. Let me just remind you that if you have any more questions or comments after we go off the air, put them in the YouTube comments below, not on some random Facebook expat group, because it won't help everybody who watches the video. So there you go. And that's for free. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos. So, John McClue says we have a Laurel and Hardy government in the UK. Do you know Laurel and Hardy, Lucia?
No, I don't.
Black and white comedy duo in back in the 1920s, American. Well, Stan Laurel was British, so yeah. But it's English speaking, and back in the days when when there was no TVs. So there we go. And Barry said, I didn't realise they had extended the deadline. I think Martin Lewis once said that you could get something like £3,000 of benefit for about 160.
I can send you the document that I have that Blacktower released at the time. That was in June. I can send it to you, Andrea, and you can just post it or send the link to it.
I will.
That will help everybody.
That will, yes. Rombo says, great show, Scats. Lucia, thank you. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Any final words before we leave from you, Lucia?
Just to remember the main rule, which is 183 days. Make sure, please. I'm repeating myself all the time here, but you cannot imagine the number of people that I get to see during a meeting, and they said, "Oh, I just took my pension lump sum out from the UK, and I didn't notice that I'm already classed as tax resident."
Ooh.
As I said to Mr. I think it was Robert or John, one of the audience here before, make sure please that you are not here as a tax resident, because of course you lose your right. So it's 47% that goes on tax. Taxman would be very happy. I'm Spanish and I'm living here in Spain, and of course it will go towards my country and so on. But of course, if it's something, it's not fair. So just make sure or look for advice all the time. If you, I am dealing, or my job is be giving out information as I'm doing that with you, Andrew, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk to the audience and replying to questions on a live chat, because that's my job. Once you have the understanding of the legal implications here in Spain and how things work from the tax point of view, then you are able to go to the next step, which will be, I'm going to sell my property, I'm going to take my lump sum, I'm going to take this type of investment, which is tax-free in my home country. I'm talking a lot about the UK because I mainly deal with the UK expats living here in Spain or planning to move here in Spain. But of course, I do have from other countries. Make sure that you are fully aware of what to do prior to become tax resident or to spend here over 183 days. I don't charge for the meetings or for the advice. It's something that, and usually the timeline that I go through with with any customer is pretty much over a year. So my relationship with them is just to guide to do proper things while you're still in your home country before you make the move. So selling your property, taking your lump sum, and then accommodating everything to either an Spanish compliant bond or to a QROPS or to a international SIPP, and then to get that move, and then you here in Spain and you can sit down and enjoy the sun, which we have. I went to the beach yesterday, by the way, so still you can go to the beach.
Excellent.
Yeah,
It's very nice here, actually. I have to say, I did a gig last night in the next village, and I had to put a coat on to start because the wind got up.
Wow.
And it was suddenly, it's the first time since March I've worn it was a thin coat, like a jacket. Because I was right there in the middle of a square, and the wind blows down. It's like a wind tunnel, and it was blowing chairs across, and all of the paper napkins and everything on the tables were blown. There was a wine bottle went over. It was it was a bit mad. But by the end of the gig, I'd taken the coat off again. The wind had died down, and even though it was nighttime, it's still pretty good. Still pretty warm here.
It is.
So, in a moment, I'll tell you all what jewels of wisdom we have for you on next week's show. But for now, let's say a huge thank you with a big hug and a virtual kiss to Lucia for being wonderful as usual. Do contact her so she can help you further. And we'll see you again in the near future. I'm absolutely sure of that. So,
thank you. My pleasure. Much. Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
So, on next Saturday's show, who do we have to answer your questions? Well, I think I mentioned it earlier. We have Chris from Upsticks again. Yay! And the topic will be a mystery so far, because we haven't decided yet. We're going to come up with yet another 3 in a row, I think, but that won't be in next week's show. We'll just do an individual one-off there. I think we might be doing something about filling in forms, because this is something that we keep getting asked a lot, and I'd like to know exactly how you translate some of the little boxes on forms as well. So I think, we might be going through different ones of those, because we've got the ones for registering your car, we've got the non-lucrative visa ones, we've got the residency ones, so lots of those to go through. You can find out what the topic of next week will be on our Facebook page over the next few days when I announce it. You can ask your questions in advance on either that Facebook page or the YouTooSpain Facebook community. That's a group. So that's a private group on the Facebook page. The YouTooSpain Facebook page is a kind of an open public one. So you can ask on either of those. Or you can subscribe to this YouTube channel and ask questions here underneath any of the videos. And I always get those messages through very quickly in my notifications, and I try and answer them very quickly for you. Barry says, never heard of him. Talking about Chris, I presume there. Of course you have. You have a golf ball relationship, apparently. Thanks to all of you for joining us on the live chat. Oh, a question for Chris for next week. Do they accept funds in a Spanish compliant bond for the non-lucrative visa renewals? Very good question. Let me just take a screen print of that one, because that's going to disappear very shortly after I've gone off the air. Clickety click. There we go. That's on my laptop now. So, and yes, thanks everybody. All of those names that have come up on the live chat, and everybody who even didn't put a message there. Thank you so much for watching and joining us, and thank you to everybody who's going to be watching this video afterwards. Don't forget to leave comments and hit the like button, and buymeacoffee.com if you're watching on your phone. Obviously you can't hover your phone over your phone, so the link is down below in the video description. If you don't know how to get to the video description, ask me in the comments. You've got to click on a little read more thing that it says down there to get to all of the links. There's tons of links. I will see you on the latest helpful video on Wednesday evening. I have a feeling I might be putting out 2 or 3 different videos this week, just little short ones. I think that's going to be my thing for this week, but you will see in a few days' time. And then again, I'll see you next Saturday live at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland, or 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe. So that's all for this week. Somebody pass around the financial cookies and get ready, everybody, to do the dance. Peace and love to all of you. So here's one final message for everybody here at YouTooSpain, from everybody at YouTooSpain. Bye for now. Bye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right, then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.